Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. That was BQE Ripsqueak V2 carrying around an Insta360 Go 2 with Toka 1505s, which are unfortunately discontinued. Just like a regular old stack. I don't know, nothing special. Analog. Yeah. Fun stuff. Without the Insta360 Go, I want to say this is like 240 grams or so. With the Insta360 Go, it fattens up a little bit to like 270, 275-ish in that area. All up. Flies great. These Toka 1505s make mega power. They are 3800 kV, and I've got Gemfan 3052s on them. Really, really good combo. It's a shame that this frame doesn't exist anymore. But there are other frames that are a little bit heavier than this. But this size motor, you know, this 1505 doesn't exist anymore. Your options nowadays are the T-Motor 1604s. There's also the 1804s, but they're a little big for 3-inch. There's more of a 3.5-inch motor. But yeah, the T-Motor 1604 would rip on this thing. Just about as good as these 1505s. So yeah, that's what you were watching there. Got back from this gig a little bit ago. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted and I'm deflated. Atlanta Pride went with somebody else this year. I didn't even think that. Last year they told yeah, I don't know. I didn't even think that it would. They did not let me know in any way that they were thinking about anyone else. So I didn't send them any work. Like they just, last year I was told that we were doing it this year for sure, and they were going to hire me for both days. And that's what it sounded like. And so like. Yeah, I didn't send work samples over. I sent a couple of invoices over to give them pricing and whatnot, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not happy about it. I was really, really excited. I was really, really, really excited to fly Pride next weekend. And yeah, so this sucks. But it's freelance, I guess. I don't know. I have a feeling that they hired one of the local hacks that have been flying Avata 2s for about 15 minutes and are flying them like complete idiots all over downtown Atlanta, being super reckless. And so yeah, I'm worried that something bad's gonna happen because they have no idea what they're doing, and like they've almost hit people already. And so yeah, I don't know. It could go really bad for them, and it's not like a situation where I can just sit back and then just be like, well, I told you so. Like when they fuck up, when these people fuck up, it makes our whole community look bad, and whoever that they worked with will never bring anyone FPV related on to any project they do ever again. So it's not like this, you know, there's like no justice. It's like it's just all bad. It's just all bad. And you know, this person that Atlanta Pride hired to handle the media this year obviously has no idea. Doesn't understand that at all. And yeah, if he replies back to my email, I'm gonna try to explain it to him. The spot, it's a really challenging spot too. There's a ton of trees, there's a ton of power lines, and so yeah, I don't know. Hey, so I've got a brand new X12 number 3, Happymodel X12 AIO number 3 has arrived. Let's see how long this one lasts. The very first X12 that I got only lasted a few batteries before it let go. I got another one which lasted a while. I'm fine with how long the second one of these lasted. Here's a fresh one. Let's see how long this one lasts. I've got to solder up a BT. Hey, by the way, this is going to be a quick live stream today. Probably only about another half an hour. So all I really need to do to it is solder up BT 2.0. I do need to get it out of this Air 65 frame though, because get these motors out. These are the VCI 0802.8 27,000s. This Meteor 75 airframe I modified quite a bit to fit that HDLRC Spectre AIO that continuously catches on fire. The X12 AIO is physically oversized. Like the sides of it are farther out than most AIOs, and it won't fit really in any frames other than the Mobula 7 V4 1S frame, which is fine because this is a great frame. And so, yeah, while I'm getting caught up on chat and bitching and moaning, I'm going to be removing the motors from this Meteor 75 airframe, putting them into this guy. And I have a funny feeling that's about all we're going to get done. Maybe we'll do a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to get a ton done here today. I stole that from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to their channel. You'll love it if you have any interest in cars whatsoever, or just good YouTube channels. My custom micro V's came in from Old Radio Transmission, ORT. So yeah, I messaged them on Instagram. I said, hey, what's your minimum quantity, and do you do custom orders? I love your micro V, but I would like it a little bit shorter. And with a piece of the shrink wrap a little bit longer. And they said, yeah, totally cool. Minimum quantity is 10. It'll cost this. It's basically the same price that you would pay for them from, like, I think Race Day Quads is the only place that has them. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it was totally easy to work with them. They were great. PayPal'd them over and just waited a couple of weeks. They're overseas, so the shipping took a little bit. But yeah, it was great to work with them. So I'm going to be replacing pretty much all of my ORTs with these. And then over on my Etsy store, which is linked at CiottiFPV.com, you're going to start to see the regular Micro Vs pop up and come in stock. Absolutely nothing wrong with the regular ones. I just wanted them cut a little bit shorter. After I sell all of those, I might get another 10 of these from ORT and have them as like a permanent item, as like, you know, the Ciotti length ORT Micro V. And so, yeah, that'll be pretty cool. I had them do, the reason why I had them do the shrimp wrap a little bit longer is so that so the normal Micro V does not have this extra little bit of shrink wrap that I'm tickling with my finger. That makes things work, right? Smash them. Yeah, so this little, oh my god, what a piece of trash. Okay, there it is. Yeah, this little extra bit of shrink wrap here is what I had him leave, in addition to shortening the cable, so that you can stuff it in there like that, and it fits like perfectly in this hole in the Mobula 6 canopy to just kind of hold it a little bit. And we'll see if that's enough. I wonder if it's just gonna pop out the first crash like that. Even if it does, though, between this being a little bit shorter, it doesn't have that. It doesn't bend as much. The regular ORT Micro V in this canopy, it will bend all the way down, and it can get into the in between the propellers and the frame. So I'm thinking that this cable being shorter and then the shrimp wrap being a little bit longer will hopefully get it, keep it out of the props, out from in between the props and the frame. I'll let you know. It happens every couple of batteries for me, so it'll be pretty obvious if that's going on. Cloudhopper very, very kindly sent me a very custom 75 millimeter. It's basically a Happymodel Mobula 7 1S with hand wound motors. These are essentially like God's motors, basically. It's a Happymodel RS 0802 Bell, which is a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, ultra lightweight Bell. I'm not sure what, I guess it's an RS stator as well. But Cloudhopper has hand wound the stator to 36,000 kV. And just a gorgeous build. Really, really, really good work on the build. And so yeah, you're gonna get to see this. I'm super interested to see how this flies. He's got a really cool, well, we're gonna spend some time on this build, not tonight, diving into it, showing you all the custom stuff. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. So stay tuned for this, but I just wanted to show it off for a second here so that he didn't think it got lost in the mail. Thank you, dude. Very cool. Very, very cool of you to send this on over. And then last but very certainly not least is a revised version of Nolan's FPV guide, which is super awesome. Ray Nolan, sorry, Nolan is his last name. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to compare this to the original episode 1 of this, edition 1, but yeah, I'm assuming that, I don't know what's revised. Have they? I'm assuming that they've got the same components in here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's revised about it, but it's really cool that he's revising these. Like, that's awesome. Even though I don't know what he's revising, the fact that he's doing revisions is awesome. I guess maybe he realized after it was published that there were possibly some errors in it, and he fixed the errors in it, or maybe there's some out of date info. I don't know. I don't know what he's revised, but I'm super impressed that he's actually doing that. Right? Like he's got 4 of these now. If it were me, I would just be like, screw that. I'm making version 5. Like I'm not going to go back in time. It's really, really, really cool that he's done that. So I'll. At some point here, I'll let you know what is actually revised about this. Probably well, tomorrow night's a giveaway stream, so it's going to be hectic. But yeah, at some point here, I will figure out what's revised about it, and I will let you know. Thank you, Ray, for sending this over. Very, very cool. If you guys don't know FPV Guide, it's awesome. FPV_guidebook.com. You can get your own. These are really well done. These are going to be huge as the components inside of these disappear, get discontinued, and you can't find the wiring diagrams anymore. Like, these are going to become our Bibles for old stuff. Like, look, there's the Caddx Tarsier. Try to find some info on the Caddx Tarsier on the internet. You ain't going to find shit. You're certainly not going to find all this good stuff. So this is God's work that he's doing here. This is awesome. And CMYK, I think it's okay to say this, CMYK has been doing the artwork on these for the last couple of versions. And so, yeah, the extremely detailed technical drawings that are in there, we got our buddy to thank for it, which is amazing. So, yeah, pick yourself up one. Support Ray on an adventure of making books, bro. He's publishing books for us, guys. That's how you know that you've made it, that your hobby has made it. If there are books being published about it. It's really, really good stuff. All right. What's happening in the chat? Crom was first, Dexter was second, Spaceman Spiff, Cloudhopper, Frank Nicholas, Uriel, FPV Toast, Doubles FPV, Christopher Blackledge, Monkey D. Cluffy's in the house. What's up, homie? Curtis Hayes, 661. Why do I do this? Why? I can't talk when it's in... Never mind. Dave S. What's up, everybody? Sorry for the weird timing of this live stream, but I figured it would be better to do a stream now. Some sort of a quick stream rather than none at all, hopefully. Uriel says, I print all the parts details like diagrams also in digital place. Yeah, that's a really good idea. For a while, for a couple of years, I had a folder on my desktop named manuals, and anytime I would get anything FPV related, I would grab a screenshot or whatever I could of the manual, and I would throw it into that folder. And man, has that come in handy. You know where that's come in really handy is with Talon F7 flight controllers. A reseller called Heli Nation worked with CL Racing to make a flight controller, a red flight controller that they called the Talon, which I had really good luck with the Talons. And so I bought a whole bunch of them. And I've had a whole bunch of them because they last... but unfortunately, they had like version 1, like version 1.1, version 1.2, version 2, version 2.1. They had like a bunch of different versions, and the chips moved and the pads moved. And so now, many years later, it is a complete nightmare on Google Images to try to find wiring diagrams for the Talon flight controllers. But luckily, I have a couple of PDFs and screenshots in my FPV manuals folder from those Talons. So I've been able to continue to use them. Because, yeah, there's certain ones that there's just no info whatsoever on Google Images. And so, yeah, do that. If you can, it'll save you someday. Man, I am exhausted. Found out about the Atlanta Pride shit like last night, and I could not sleep. I was just like, Yeah. I feel like fucking betrayed. I don't know. I'm really worried that they hired some idiot for $100 to go do it, and they're gonna send a Nevada 2 into someone's face, and it's not gonna disarm. Um, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully not, but whatever. What really pisses me off is that I flew the event last year for free as a volunteer, and when I talked to them, when I talked to this guy at this media company, I told him that I was very clear about that, and I said, you know, DJ was cool enough uh, to get me some budget for Sunday, but I was happy to fly Saturday for free. I love doing volunteer work, passion projects, blah 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 blah. Um, and uh, and I thought that I made it sort of obvious enough that if there wasn't budget, that I would do that again. Um, I didn't flat out say that because I was told last year that this year there would definitely be budget for me because they were so thrilled with the quality of the work and whatnot. And so I didn't outright say that I would do it for free, but like I explained that whole thing, right? And I don't know. I just like I don't know. I hope that they chose to go with no one. I don't think that's the case. Um, but I don't know. Uriel says, "Tell them what's on your mind." I did. Um, DJ was like my inside man. He's a local guy that's brought me onto a whole bunch of different really cool things. And he's been like my inside guy. He's who found out. What he said to me is that they went with someone else, which is what pisses me off. If he told me that they didn't have budget for it or whatever, I'd be like, totally fine. Um, and so after he told me that, I emailed this guy at this weird media company again, and I said, hey, um, I will fly this for free. I did it as a volunteer last year. Um, I would be glad to do that again this year. Um, and I had a great time, and I love doing volunteer. Blah blah blah. I churched it up real nice. And so I don't know. Maybe if they let me fly it for free, what I'm gonna if he gets back to me and says yes, you can come fly it as a volunteer. What I'm gonna hit him with is like, great. I appreciate your permission to fly the event. Afterwards, I will send you low res versions of all of my flight footage, and you can purchase it at stock footage rates. And I will be sure to bang them harder on the stock footage pricing than they would have paid me to fly it hourly. Um, so, yeah, I don't know. Tyler Merlin says, what is a good motor size for a 3.5-inch freestyle? Depends on a lot of things, Tyler. It's motor sizing is a very personal kind of thing. A bigger motor is going to be better for freestyle. Smaller motors are going to be better for long range, more runtime. Wider motors are going to be better if you carry a lot of speed and you want to fly it fast all the time. A narrower, taller motor is going to be better if you don't cover as much ground, but you want like a mega explosion of power so you can burst up over trees and stuff. So, yeah, there's not just like a one size fits all kind of answer. You're going to be anywhere from like on the low end, a 1404. That would be about as small as I would want to go. That would be for like longer run times, maybe like long range type stuff. All the way up to like an 1804 or like a 1606 or something like that. So in that range is where you're going to want to be. And then you just have to pick. What do you want? Do you want a bigger, heavier motor? Do you want a lighter motor? lighter for better runtime, bigger and heavier for more grunt, bigger power. Wider, less tall motor is going to stay cool. So that's going to be good for if you want to fly really fast all the time. And then a skinnier, slightly taller motor, like I said, is going to be good for big bursts of power up over the trees. The narrower and the taller the motor, the less cooling, right? The motor is physically not wide enough to be in the airflow coming in through the propellers. And so a tall motor, it's going to make great power, but it's going to heat up. And so if you're trying to cover a lot of ground, if you're flying like 50, 60% throttle for like half the battery, a tall motor is going to overheat. And when magnets overheat, they lose their magnetism. They become very inefficient. So yeah, that's sort of motor choice in a nutshell. Let's just solder this. Let's just solder this shit up. I might be able to get this build done. It's 2 solder joints and then a whole bunch of plugs, and I've already got the motors bolted down. So yeah, we might be able to actually. I'm dying to get this thing put back together, man. These VCI 0802.8 27,000 kV motors absolutely jam, and I have missed having a rig with them on it. Yo, I've been using the Omni Fixo a lot lately, like way more often than I use the putty, and I'm starting to figure things out about this. And I'm like really, I mean, I've always liked it, but the more I use it, the more I kind of fall in love with it. It is really nice. If you don't have one of these, you should probably get one. One of my only complaints about it is that if you put a component in it like this, the best thing about it is that when you move these, they stop. You don't push it and then it recoils like an inch, like the regular helping hands do. That is amazing. The only problem is there's only so much resistance down here, and what I find is that like when I'm in here trying to solder stuff, it has a tendency to do this, and it'll like sag, and like as I'm trying to get the work done, it's like moving down. And so like sometimes you can just do that. You can grab it on a second one, but then sometimes it'll still kind of do it. What I'm realizing is that just keep going. Just keep taking these things, and you can actually clamp to the other clamps. Like, so I can take this and clamp onto that clamp, and the more of these you put like in line, the more you can like beef it up, and then eventually you've got it where it won't let go. You just have to like kind of triangulate the clamps in a way. And so yeah, I'm really digging this thing. And it doesn't take, it's quick. That's the other thing. What I really like about the putty is that you just push your shit in there and it's ready to go. And there's no like setting up. There's no like fucking around with it and like, oh, let me grab it here. Let me grab it. Like, it's just super, super, super quick. And as I use this more and more, I'm getting much quicker at just like, yep, there, over here, triangulated on that side, maybe grab this one on here, ready to go. It's in position, it's good to go. I can kind of scooch it around a little bit. So yeah, huge thumbs up to the Omni Fixo. The more I use it, the more I'm sort of impressed by it. And so, as an example of that, we are going to use it for this job that we're doing right here. So I've got the little double clamp, which is great. I'm going to kind of get this here, and then I can just take this guy. Sometimes you can't clamp to the clamp, but usually you can. Yep, there we go. Cool. So now we got a clamp on a clamp, and that's pretty damn solid. Now I can, if I have to, I can kind of push on this, and it'll be totally fine. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for the Omni Fixo. Between the Omni Fixo and a set of the Nerd goggles, the quality of your work will change forever in a really good way. Like, you will do much better quality work with these 2 things. So spend a couple dollars and get both of them. Use my Amazon affiliate link if you don't mind for the Nerd goggles. I don't think the Omni Fixo is on Amazon. I think you have to buy it directly from their website. Round is ground, so that means that white is ground. All right, so too much solder on that one. It won't go through the through hole. Same deal on this one. Let me remove some of the solder from these so that I can use them in the with the X12 through holes. If there is a through hole, try really hard to use it. They are fantastic. All right, so here's my preferred way of getting solder off of wires. You take your solder wick, cut a little fresh bit of it. Here's the important part, though. You got to flux the wire. The solder wick, the John's solder wick, it absorbs a lot of the temperature that you're getting on the tip of the soldering iron. So you really need to promote as much as you can the temperature transfer between the wire and the solder wick. And one of the best ways to do that is flux. So put a little blob of flux on the tips of the wires here. And then the other thing that you can do is tin the tip of your soldering iron. I know that might sound insane. Like, why would I put tin on the tip of the soldering iron and then just put it directly onto the braid? It's because we're trying to promote that heat transfer, right? Like, the braid is going to absorb a bunch of solder. So if you just tin the tip of the soldering iron with a tiny little bit, it'll get the heat transfer going. And yeah, that's how you do it. So clean the tip of the soldering iron, get the wick in here in a good spot against the wood, and then just bring the tip of the soldering iron down, and you'll see the solder wick up into the solder wick. And that just took most of it off, but the wire is not round right now, so I just need to kind of round it out a little bit. And there's still going to be a whole bunch of solder in between these strands of wire, which is great. It'll never remove like all the solder. My father, when he worked for Princeton Plasma Physics Lab, they sent him at one point to a week-long NASA soldering school. And the NASA guys tin everything, and then they come in with solder wick and they remove as much of the solder as they can, and then they re-tin everything. And that's basically what we're doing here. So next time somebody asks you how high your quad goes, tell them that you've built it within NASA specs, and it'll actually go into the upper atmosphere and hang out with the International Space Station. See what they say to that. They don't listen to the answers that we give them to that question anyway, so just tell them some bullshit. Might as well, right? All right, so there we go. I removed as much solder from the ends of those wires as I can. Cut this used bit of solder wick off. And now let's see if these will fit. Again, there's still a bunch of solder in between the strands of wire, which is great. And hey, both of them. Look at that. All right, so we got that. One of the other cool things is you can come in here and grab the wires, and then it'll hold the wires in where you want them. It like kind of pre-tensions the wires really nicely. See if I can get you guys a better view of this. Uriel says, no, better say what you earlier said. Like I put in the time before for free, and now I'd love to do it for money. Otherwise, just no. Drunzen says, I feel on this, man. I've had a few jobs. Beginning, they love my work. Then someone comes along and undercuts, and they go with them. Scummy thing for other pilots to do. Yeah, it's when I talk to all of the other like OG pro pilots that are really doing good work, about being here in Atlanta, they're like, dude, why are you still there? You need to get the hell out of there. Like, that is not the place to be, to try to do good quality work. You're just going to keep getting just hammered by people. And like, you know, it's not that easy. I can't just get up and leave. But man, is it true. Like, it's cool and all that there's a lot of pilots here, but boy, there are a lot of pilots willing to work for free, and man, does that fuck it up for those of us trying to do it for a living. But, you know, what can I do? There's absolutely nothing I can do about that. All I can do is sit here and bitch and moan, which accomplishes nothing, of course. But yeah, it sucks. It really does. But that's just the way it is. That's the race to the bottom. It's actually pretty impressive that it hasn't been worse, I guess. I don't know. You would hope that like we could not do that because it hurts everyone, right? But like I guess I kind of get it, right? Like it's really fun to fly these things, and it's really fun to fly around like a subject. And you know, immediately like, when you start to do it, it's like, well, I haven't been doing it yet, so the only possible way is for me to charge nothing. Well, no, it's not true. Charge a little bit less, but don't charge nothing. Like, god damn. Whatever. Is what it is. Here we go. Voltage wire first. Gonna be extra patient here to make sure that the solder penetrates the through hole. And I'm actually gonna come back onto the pad and really give it a little bit of time here. That should be okay. I don't like how it's a big round solder ball on there. Oh, this camera is just doing great work today. Really, really impressive stuff, Logitech. Great job. No? Oh well. It was worth a shot. If you think I'm insane for doing that, just think of it this way. The camera pisses me off every single live stream, so if I do that and it breaks, it's actually a really good thing. It'll save me from frustration in the future. Picking up when I'm laying down. I'm trying to break it, guys. Don't call me an idiot. Call me whatever you want, but... okay. There's the ground pad. Same deal. Let's put a blob of solder, flux on there. And here we go. Always clean the tip of the soldering iron when you take it out of the stand, not when you're putting it back into the stand. You want there to be excess solder on the tip of the iron when you put it into the stand. That is going to prevent it from oxidizing. So the workflow is always take the iron out of the stand, clean it, do your work with it, put it right back into the stand. Don't clean it after you do the work. All right. Yep, that'll work. Put a little bit of an angle on these wires just so that it sits in the frame a little bit better and doesn't get in the way of the battery. Ooh, you know, I realized something the other day about that I don't like about the Mobula 6 2024 AIO. They used a longer USB port on it, which sucks when you go to use the light AF frame. You end up needing to... oh, I never switched the I never switched the camera. You end up needing to use really tall rubber grommets in order for the battery to not smash into the USB port. I really don't like that. I really, really, really don't like how long of a USB port they used on the Mobula 6 2024. That's a super bummer. So yeah, there's that. Not like the end of the world. I mean, you can just use longer grommets, but then you got to use longer screws and like, I don't know. It's whatever. Yet another instance of the 2G4 being the best AIO of all time. So, yeah. There's that. This guy's ready to go. Let's throw some grommets in it. Wow, is it 6 o'clock already? Why is that happening? Why is this happening? Wow. Apple's calendar application has been broken for like 10 years. And whatever, it's broken in this weird way that whatever sound, it broke many versions of iOS ago. And when it broke, whatever sound effect you had, the one that I had at the time, you just heard, it's the really obnoxious one. Whatever sound effect that you had as your alert tone for any calendar alerts, and I use Apple's calendar quite a bit. It's super handy. You could no longer change it, and there's no solution to this. I've searched high and low. I've spent hours and hours and hours trying to figure this out. And there is no solution. It's just straight up broken. I mean, this is like the people that hate Apple. This is a perfect example of why they hate Apple. And it's a perfect example of why they're not like idiots for hating Apple. You know, like some people hate Apple just because it's the cool thing to do. Like that's for sure. But some intelligent people that hate Apple, they have good reason to, and this is a perfect example of that. And it's just dumb. It's just completely dumb. And like, I'm sure there's a I know that there's a reason that they something broke, and in order to fix it, they would have to like completely. It would be a ton of work basically for them to fix it. But they're fucking Apple computer, and they need to fix that shit. Like, I get it. It's a lot of work to fix it. You better get working on that now, because you're the powerhouses. You're the ones that have this thing that in like so many other ways is just perfect. And you lean on that and you say up and down, you know, you want shit that just works, buy Apple. And so, yeah, there's that. There's that. Uriel says, did you ever think about ESD Safety? I don't know what that is. Drones says, yeah, man, drone work is my full-time gig. I can go 2 weeks, tons of work, then 2 weeks, nothing. Yeah, it's more like 2 months on, 2 months off for me. Although it's a little different here in Atlanta. Like in the middle of the summer, it's so hot, nobody wants to do anything outside. So I get that. The gig on Friday was my first gig in over 2 months, actually. And then, you know, I had Friday, I had today. I was supposed to have, and I still do have a gig next Saturday in the morning. And then I was supposed to have the Pride gig that afternoon, and then another one on Sunday. And like, and this is a part of it too. Like I had this big lull in this work, and then I had a whole bunch of stuff, and now, you know, it's just like this rug that's been pulled out from under me. Uriel says, F them, the editing is a lot. They pay for experience and first time right instead of new hobbyist credentials. Maybe get a commercial site for showing. Yeah, I for a long time I got away with not having a website, and I'm still very hesitant about it, because I've heard from so many people, and there are so many people that don't have websites and they get plenty of work and it's fine, but I don't know. I'm starting to think that I'm gonna have to take the time to do it, to try to set myself apart from other people, because like, if you can get somebody with two brain cells to rub together, if I can get somebody with two brain cells to rub together on the phone for 5 minutes, I'm good. I get the job every single time. But it's when they only have that one single brain cell, that it becomes a problem. And yeah, I get the feeling that that's kind of what happened here. Or maybe not, or maybe they hired somebody good. I don't know. It does piss me off that they didn't get back to me. Like, they were just gonna let me. I don't know. It is what it is. Sprout says, do you have a tune for your Mobula 6 2024 with the light AF frame and everything? I don't really have tunes for anything per se. Tuning is a process that is very specific to each individual build and each individual pilot. So I will certainly teach you how to tune. It takes me about 3 minutes, since Betaflight has made it so simple. But yeah, I'm never gonna like give you my tune, because my tunes are very specific to my flight style and the way that I want my footage to look. And most people that like fly my tunes think that they're horrible, and there's like tons of latency and it's way too smooth and stuff like that. So yeah, my tune is not something that's going to really do you any good. But yeah, I talk about tuning all the time on the channel. It's that whole move the D-gain slider to the right from 1.0 to 1.2, fly it, make sure the motors aren't hot, make sure it's not doing anything weird. Then you push it up to 1.4 and you take the second slider and you move that to 1.1. And now you've got your little like golden ratio of those top two sliders. And you just keep moving them up from there until you're happy with where the tune's at. And or things start acting weird or sounding weird, or the motors are getting too hot. If that's the case, you back it off a little bit. And that's pretty much it. If you can't handle two sliders, just use the master multiplier slider and just move that from 1.0 to 1.2. See how it flies. 1.4. See how it flies. 1.6. See how it flies. At some point, it will tell you that it's not happy, and then you just back it off. That's it. That's all there is to tuning. It's incredibly simple nowadays. Betaflight has really, really, really hooked us up with the sliders, and their filtering. Their filtering is brilliant, which makes it very easy to tune. It makes it very easy to increase the PIDs, which makes you feel like the tune is going to be way better. In some cases, it's a little bit better, but the stock tune nowadays is damn good. And so, yeah, the don't fall into the trap of thinking that you need to specifically tune your rigs. If it flies fine with the defaults, which most rigs do, there's actually a lot to be said for leaving the stock tune and just flying the quad. You're going to have more headroom. You're going to be able to beat the quad to death, and it'll just keep flying and flying and flying and flying and flying. So yeah, don't feel like back in the day it was a little bit different, and like you kind of did need to do at least a little bit of tuning on pretty much everything. Nowadays the defaults are more aggressive and the filtering is way better, and also like if you're paying attention, then you're going to choose a set of motors, a set of props, a build that works well together. And the quality of the components that we have now are better too. So the mechanical tune, which is much more important than the actual PID tune, is going to be a lot better nowadays than it ever was. And so all of those things kind of compound on one another, and you wouldn't believe how perfect a lot of rigs will fly with stone stock Betaflight PIDs. It's just 1.0 right across the board on the sliders. So keep that in mind. If there's not, like, don't tune for the sake of tuning. If you're going to tune a quad, tune a fish first. If you're going to tune a quad, have a reason for the tune, right? Like, I get very wary of people that, like, say, hey, can I have the tune from your XYZ? I have a similar build. That's not it. That's not the reason to tune. The reason to tune is, hey, I've got this build that just happens to be similar to yours, and when I turn really hard left and drop into my own prop wash, it's a little bit wobbly. I want my footage to look better because I'm trying to impress a client. Can you help me? That's the reason to tune. You know, if nobody's looking at your footage, if you're just flying for fun, why does it matter? Right? Like, just push the feed forward up and you'll get a whole bunch more stick response. That's what it'll make it feel more connected. And then, yeah, you're kind of good to go. The looser the tune, the more you're going to be able to fly that rig. Literally. You'll be able to crash it harder. You won't have to screw with it. You'll be able to just do the fun thing in FPV, which is flying. And so, yeah, the tuning trap is real. And you've got to like kind of talk back to it. So don't ever feel like every single rig has to be custom tuned. You got to have a reason, in my opinion. You should have a reason. You don't have to. You do whatever the hell you want. But most people will benefit from not tuning, actually. Most people will benefit from leaving the stock tune on there and just pounding the living hell out of the rig and just having fun flying it. Oh, farts. Did this just strip out? I might have just felt that screw hole strip out. Let's try it again. Gert Jan X is in the house. What's up, homie? I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you again. Hope you had a nice gig. See you next time. Need sleep. Got only 5 hours left. Good luck, brother. Thanks for swinging by. Hope you're well. Uriel says, Apple, I cannot even share an MP3. Electronic static discharged safety. What's that? Yeah, that stripped out a little bit. Oh, that's super annoying. Oh, nope. No, it didn't. It's just not. It's going in between the screw hole and the grommet. There it is. There we go. I was going to say, this is like a practically brand new frame. Usually they don't strip out for a while. These little posts stripping out is a perfect example of why you want to try to not take these things apart unless you absolutely have to. Metal screws into plastic, eventually that's going to strip. So, like, if you've placed an order and you've got a new antenna coming, but then, like, something happens to the rig and you're tempted to take it apart real quick and fix it and then put it back together, and then the antenna is going to come tomorrow and then you take it apart again, maybe don't. Try to batch it out. Try to do a bunch of stuff at once, and it's going to make these things last longer. There is a real amount of wear that occurs just from you taking these apart. Is there a lot more wear from smacking them into hardwood at 30 miles an hour? Of course. But, yeah. You can save time and money by trying to batch the upgrades and the repairs and stuff like that out and do a bunch of stuff all at once rather than taking it apart over and over and over and over again. That will catch up with you eventually, for sure. I learned that lesson back in my airsoft days. Kevin J with a super generous $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, thanks for being you. Thanks for letting me be me on the internet, brother. Very, very cool. All right, rear screw is in. we got one more, and then this guy's pretty much together. I just need to plug the motors in. This is pretty much the end of this live stream, though. I don't have any batteries charged to actually fly this. And I got to jump in the shower because Maggie and I are going to dance at 7 o'clock. So a little bit of a shorter live stream, but today was a crazy busy day. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern time, is a giveaway live stream. Be there or be square, my friends. There we go. So I got this antenna in here. This is one of the new antennas. Yeah, no, it pops right up and out. That's okay. It was worth a shot. I forgot. I wanted to put like a really aggressive bend in the antenna wire in hopes that it would like pull the antenna down into the thing, but I forgot. I forgot to do that, and now I can't get anything in here to actually do that. That's okay, though. Hopefully I'll remember on the next one. But what it looks like is that that extra little bit of shrink wrap is giving this antenna just enough to where it won't. What it does is it can get down in between the frame and the propeller, and it looks like it can technically still get down there, but it's got a good amount of a lot more stiffness now than the full length version. So I think this is a win. This custom ORT Micro V that they made for me. I think it'll be even better once I can get a really aggressive bend on this antenna wire under the canopy. I think that'll really... I was able to get it a little bit there. But we'll talk more about that in the future. Thanks for hanging, friends. I will see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. Be good. Here comes some the rest of that battery on the Ripsqueak with the Insta360 Go 2. See ya, friends. Of course, now I'm just sitting on the ground. Am I going to take back off? Yeah, there we go. See you guys tomorrow night.